Okay, we're going to start with dialect in Cassie's Fight. Okay, some writers write characters' dialogue in dialect. Dialect is a form of language spoken by people in a particular area. Dialect uses unique words, grammar, and pronunciations. Cassie's Fight takes place in Mississippi in 1933. The author uses dialect to create realistic characters, showing how people spoke in that place at that time. Okay, so you're going to be filling out this chart concerning dialect. So you have examples, character, and paraphrase. What is paraphrase? Because I just had that question. Does anybody know what it is? Yes.
Well, I can answer. It's like what they actually meant to say without using their accent. But I can't. Where is this in?
Should be in reading.
But what is it called?
It's called dialect chart, I think.
It's 2.2 determining the meaning of dialect.
Thank you. That's it. Right there. I wrote a lot. Okay, so that's basically when you're looking at this and you're trying to figure out what are they saying, paraphrasing is basically putting it in your own words. Okay, so I'm going to read paragraphs 16, 17, and 18 because they have quite a bit of dialect in it. She could have given me a break, weren't nothing but a couple bits of old paper, didn't need a know-how. Well, what you have them for? Oh man, leave me alone. All y'all Logans think y'all so doggone much with y'all's new coats and books and shiny new Packards. He whirled around, glaring down at Christopher John, little man and me. I'm sick of all y'all, your mama and your papa too. Then he turned and fled angrily up the road. You know, another thing about dialect is that it's easier to kind of understand if you read it aloud. It's also very difficult to read aloud sometimes. Has anybody ever read a book that had dialect? Anybody ever read The K? The K. It's got like a Caribbean, the gentleman in that has a Caribbean accent, and it's really hard to read aloud. It's like, come on, man, you know, and then you have that kind of accent with it. And I got pretty good at it because I read that novel about 10 times aloud, but it is difficult. So what you're going to do is, I filled out part of the chart, kind of to show you an example, and then you're going to have to finish the rest of it. So example of dialect, I just read it to you, chapter 16 through 18. Who was speaking this dialect? It was TJ. Okay, he's the character. What was he saying? And to paraphrase it in your own dialect, she could have given me a break. It was only a couple of pieces of paper. I didn't need them anyway. Oh, leave me alone. You Logans think you're so great with your new coats and books and shiny new Packards. So basically, you're just putting it into regular English, if you will. Okay, so right here, this is when you start filling out your chart right here. Man, you was cheating. What you expect for her to do? Well, what'd you have them for? So what character said these words? You're probably gonna have to get your booklet out and look. Yes.
Stacy.
Okay, so you put Stacy in here, and then you basically are translating what is he saying here, like up above. Okay, and then you do it here, and so really there's only like 3 times you have to do it, because the first one's done for you. So this whole chart's worth 6 points. Okay? So everybody understand what paraphrasing is now? Dialect? Excellent. Okay, I'll give you a moment. A couple moments here to work on that. Okay. Next up, we're going to read page 20, which is the extra credit. Everybody close their Chromebooks. Mary McLeod Bethune, Daytona Beach, 1920. Mary McLeod Bethune's heart pounded. 80 members of the Ku Klux Klan had come to her school for African American girls. She was using it for night classes to prepare African American men and women to vote. The Klan threatened to burn down the building if she didn't stop. Bethune refused and tensions mounted. Bethune had poured her heart into the school, borrowing materials and begging boxes and crates from local stores to use as desks and chairs. She won support from both the African American and white communities. Bethune knew a good education could be life-changing, as it had been for her. The daughter of former slaves, Bethune's education enabled her to go from picking cotton in South Carolina to becoming a highly respected teacher. She once said, "The whole world opened to me when I learned to read." Bethune had rejoiced when women had won the right to vote in 1920. As a result, Bethune led a voters' registration drive for African American women and men. To make it more difficult for them to vote, officials required that they first take a literacy test. Bethune offered evening reading classes at her school to help potential African American voters pass the test. Now, the Ku Klux Klan, determined to keep African Americans from voting, was threatening to burn down the school. Bethune stood the entire night in front of the campus, prepared to defend it. But amazingly, the Klan left without causing harm. The next day, at Triumph, Bethune led 100 first-time African-American voters to the polls. Her school eventually merged with the Men's College and is today Bethune-Cookman University. Hey, what type of text is this? Fiction or nonfiction? Nonfiction. It's informative, actually like a biography about Mary McLeod Bethune. Okay, so what would I be highlighting? Well, just some important information, Chloe. I see you. Oh my gosh, you've got it all. What was something you highlighted?
Well, I highlighted some of the specific things that she did and what she was like trying to stand up for.
Good. The specific things that she did and what she was standing up for. Excellent. What type of notes would I write if I'm looking for central idea and key details?
That some people were against this and wanted to burn down the school.
Okay, some people were against it and they wanted to burn down the school. Key detail. Okay, and we're turning back to the essential question, how can people inspire and change us? She's obviously an inspiration. That's why this piece of writing is put in here for you, okay, to tie in with Cassie's fight. So this is extra credit. I have to have both, okay? I need both the highlighting and the notes. All right, and then really quickly, let's look at build, reflect, write. You don't have to do the write section because I've already put that in Google Classroom Writing for tomorrow. But you will need to identify a few of Cassie and Lily Jean's defining traits and summarize their similarities and differences. So what would a character trait be for Cassie?
She's very like prideful, like she tries to stand up for herself and be like, I didn't do this, I don't know why I'm getting punished.
Okay, so she had a lot of pride and confidence in herself. Very good. And Lily Jean, what is a defining trait that she had? What is a trait?
Kind of like mean and racist.
Racist and mean, hateful. Okay, good. So you're going to fill out the rest of the chart, and then you're going to summarize the key similarities and differences between the two girls. So when we talk about summarizing, it's already been on the test. What are some strategies you use when you are summarizing? What is summarizing? Let's talk about that for a second. Will, what's summarizing?
Summarizing is where you find details about the same different characters.
Okay, so to find details about the characters. Okay, so how do I structure it though?
We basically take the long story and make it into like one paragraph. Like you just take everything that you learned from the story and make it shorter.
Shorter, right? And only include the key details and make sure they are in sequential order. That's the key to summarizing, is you start at the beginning, then the middle, and then the end. On a lot of tests you'll get on summarizing questions, they won't ask you to summarize. They'll give you several choices where the text is summarized. And all you have to do, if it's done for you, is to make sure that your right answer is the one that's sequenced in order. Okay, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. All right? But here you're just summarizing, comparing and contrasting, like a Venn diagram. Cassie and Lily and Jean. Okay? Questions. And then down below, it's always the same. On the reflect, what questions do you have about the text, or how does it relate to the essential question? Please make sure you're writing neatly. I know it's a chart and there's no lines, but we can still write neatly. Okay? Since we're coming to the end of this is the end, we're going to be having the weekly test tomorrow. Benchmark weekly test tomorrow. So guess what else is due tomorrow? These, correct. All filled out, ready to go. All right?
Wait, already?
Wait, what?
Already?
Yes, already.
The math with Sue's journey or whatever. You're not doing that?
The what? No, well, I mean, we're at the end. We did the white.
There's another passive for that.
I know, that's next week.
Oh.
Remember, we go through every 10 pages is a week. And we're off because Friday was, you guys were off.
Yeah.
Okay?
You got an extra day.
You got an extra day.
We had,
Should have collected it today, but I didn't.